Hello everyone. In this session, I would like to discuss about async functions. Let me open developer console window. This is my browser. Inspect it. This is my console. Just the difference between normal function, my async function. First, I want to explain. Write a normal function. F1 is my function. Yes. Just tell something about this function means what? This F1 function. There is no arguments. There is row return type. Okay, there is no statements also. If I call my F1, if I call my F1, there is no return value, nothing. So that my default value, the default return value for my F1 function is what? Undefined or not. Let me do slight change to my F1 function. What is that change? Just here async keyword. Async keyword. Just click on enter. Okay, can we call this function now? Can we call this function now? If I call this, then let us see. In the past, this is like a plain normal function. Default, my function returns me what? Undefined. If it is like a async function, by default, my async function returns me what? A promise or not. That is the main difference between normal function and async function. With the promise, we can return some values. Okay, some responses we can give it. Okay, maybe it's like a success response or failure response. That is depending upon your requirement. For example, think this is my function. Just it is return some value like 100. While returning the value, there is no errors, nothing. Just simply 100 it's going to return. So while calling my F1, it returns a promise with some response or not. So how we can handle the response which is written through promise means by using then. We can write like then. The first callback method is like a success. The second callback function we can say like it's a failure. So that while returning there is no error, nothing. That means it's like a success callback. So now if you come here, if I click on F1, say this. If I click on F1, yeah, my response returns like 100 or not. Here F1 returns a promise so that I handle it then. With the promise, it returns a success response like 100. While returning this response, there is no errors, nothing. That means success. So my first callback method is executed. Next one. Now, can you come to my console? Just write my F1 like this to change. This is my location variable dot length. My location variable is not there. Okay, that means what? My location is not defined. Location is not defined. Okay, that type of error you can get it. Okay, that type of error you can get it. That type of error you can get it. For example, result is my result is there. Result is not there. So that you can get some error. Here, while calling my F1, it returns a promise with what? Return result. His result is there, not there. So that my result returns me what? One exception. Throws an exception. What is that? Result is not defined. That means you returns a result with error response or not. You return something with error response. So if it is like a error response, then the time my F1 calling returns a promise so that I handle it then. If it is like a error response, the second callback method is going to execute. If you observe here, see this, my second callback function is going to execute. My response is what? See my response. If you see this, result is not defined. Result is not defined at F1 or not. This is the way we can handle the promise values from my async function. So the final conclusion of the story is my async functions returns what? A promise by default. Whatever the async function is going to return, that value, if it is like a successfully returns the value, then the time my promise handled by using then, right? Okay, my then first callback is going to execute. If something is happened while returning the value, that means okay, it's like it throws an error, then the time my then second callback function is going to work. Thanks guys, thanks for watching.